Hello, everyone. I'm Sibyl Starr, and I'm here to share the astrology of the new moon total solar eclipse in Aries that is occurring on April 8th. I'm calling this the birth of a new light within, because that's really what is happening. It is a catalyst and an acceleration of the light within our own hearts and the evolution of and our ascension process that is happening. So anyway, there is a total solar eclipse. I have the image behind me of a total solar eclipse. Is occurring on April 8th, 2024. Its maximum fullness is at 11:18 a.m. Pacific time. It is at 19 degrees of Aries. We're going to talk a little more about that when we talk about the new moon component. But this particular eclipse it is here in the United States. Well, actually, it enters in Mexico, and then it comes up through Texas, Arkansas, Indiana, and then on into like Maine, and then into Canada. And there's other areas around it that will see more of a partial eclipse. Well, basically, all over the United States, it will be visible. Some part of it will be visible. The totality will last 4 minutes and 28 seconds. And a solar eclipse always occurs at a new moon. So this indicates it's a very powerful new moon. It's about planting seasons and new beginnings. On a personal level, it is about identity and matters of spirit. This is what is called a North Node solar eclipse. So it intensifies the new beginnings aspect. And eclipses often bring to light something that has been hidden, and they are harbingers of change. So it impacts your chart. It may well bring some big change, and we'll talk a little more about that as we go on. But I did want to bring this up, a very interesting note, that the sun is 400 times larger than the moon, but the moon is 400 times closer to the earth. That is why the moon moving in front of the sun at a total eclipse can completely block out the light except for the corona. And what I find really interesting is that this does not occur with any planets, other planets in our solar system or their moons. So it is just a curious occurrence to me. There's a lot of questions about our moon these days, and because some indigenous elders say there was a time when there was no moon. So whether the moon came into our atmosphere and it was captured, or there are some other theories about it. Anyway, but a solar eclipse is a very powerful time, and we won't see another total solar eclipse here in the United States for 20 years. It won't happen until 2044. So, and Charles Jane says that events that occur in the days around an eclipse are always memorable. Events that occur 7 to 10 days before an eclipse work out in an unexpected fashion and can be fated. And they can have an effect up to actually 3 to 6 months before they occur, and as long as 1 year afterwards, sometimes even longer, and especially if it activates a sensitive point in your chart. So anyway, the new moon, the Aries new moon, occurs at 19 degrees, 24 minutes of Aries at 11:22 a.m. So I'm going to show you that chart. So the new moon actually occurs just a few minutes after the maximum fullness of the eclipse. Okay, let me show you the chart. All right. Okay, so here's the chart. So we have here the new moon. We have, and this is very rare, the sun and the moon at 19 degrees, 24 minutes of Aries, but Chiron is also at that exact same degree. Chiron in Aries is also at 19 degrees, 24 minutes. So Chiron is a super big player here. But we've got all of these planets here in Aries, or points. They're not all planets. I use Hygeia, a goddess of healing. Um, some people don't, but I have her in here because she's at 3 degrees, 53 minutes. Venus is at 4 degrees of Aries. The North Node is at 15 degrees of Aries. And of course, we have the Sun, Chiron, the Moon at Aries. We also have Eris, who's been traveling through Aries for quite a while, and we have Mercury retrograde coming up, and is tightly just a few minutes off its retrograde conjunction with Eris. So we're going to be talking about this. The ruler of all of this Aries is Mars, and Mars is here at 13 degrees of Pisces, tightly conjunct Saturn at 14 degrees of Pisces. We have the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. It's just a few degrees off. It's going to be exact on, I believe it's the 19th or the 20th. I think it depends on where you are, whether it's the 19th or the 20th. And this is a very rare aspect. Okay. All right. We also have, of course, we've got the nodes of the moon. We talked about the North Node here in Aries. Well, so the South Node, of course, is in Libra. This South Node is kind of like the handle to the bucket. You know, it's kind of carrying all of this. So it's very significant. We also can have Neptune continuing here at 28 degrees of Pisces. We have Pluto at 1 degree, 58 minutes of Aquarius. And so the Pluto is actually trine Lilith, who is also opposite Venus here. So anyway, so this is the chart of what is going on. So now let's talk about what all of this actually means. Okay. All right. So we have 8 points in Aries. Once again, Sun, Moon, Chiron at 19 degrees, 24 minutes of Aries, Mercury retrograde, and Eris at 24 degrees of Aries, North Node at 15, Venus at 4, and Hygeia at 3 degrees and 53 minutes. So this is a tremendous amount of fire. And the sun is said to be exalted in Aries, as it is the sign of individuation. Aries is the first fire sign, so it's kind of like a strong blast of fire. We could self-immolate just really everything, and there could be fires and very strange fires. But fire can bring a very high-spirited, impulsive kind of an energy. It can be hard to contain the fire. You might just feel like your desire nature, your passion. You just might really feel like everything is on fire. And another way it can show up is just, irritability and really being short-tempered. So really being aware of all this fire in the field. Aries is the warrior archetype, and the warrior, of course, is the protector, and the protector of not only others, but ourselves. Aries is a boundary setter. It's where we say yes and where we say no, and be clear about it. Aries doesn't give a lot of thought, and Libra has a hard time, it's opposite, making a decision, but Aries can make really quick decisions and as to what lines up and what doesn't. And to know that we always have a choice of how to respond to any challenge coming to us. The goal of Aries is courage. It asks us to walk through the fire of our fear. And so the thing is, you can't have courage if there's no fear. So to know that we're being asked to be really brave and courageous during these changing times. Aries likes to take risks and needs challenge to grow. And my experience with Aries is often if there's not a challenge, they'll create one because they need a challenge. Anyway, Aries are pioneers. And it's about stepping out into uncharted territory. That's one of the things that we are doing right now. There is, like I said, we're birthing a new reality. And that's part of this energy as well. And so it brings out, Aries is the first sign. And so it brings up fresh new beginnings as the old is falling away. It's a really powerful time to set intentions for the next 6 months. And if it impacts your chart, and I should say that 19 degrees of Aries, so I would say anywhere from about 16 degrees of Aries to 22 degrees of Aries, and maybe a little bit more on each side because it's such a huge amount of Aries energy. And so if you have any of the other fire signs, you might find that you have a little more energy, a little more spirit. Whereas if you're any of the other cardinal signs, because Aries is also the first cardinal sign, and the cardinal signs are Libra, Cancer, and Capricorn, that there might feel like there might be some obstacles, okay, that you have to deal with. All right. But anyway, I really feel like I said, the fresh new beginnings. And it feels like, Aries is the first sign, and it steps out of the great cosmic sea of Pisces. Individuation is Aries is a sign of individuation, stepping out of the collective unconscious of Pisces into conscious awareness. Now, this eclipse and new moon, we'll just call it new moon solar eclipse, is conjunct a star called Tauseti in the constellation of Cetus the whale. And Cetus is the celestial whale or sea monster who guards the deep realms of our unconscious as well as the collective unconscious. And so parts of our unconscious may be coming to the surface, our fears as well as our dreams, because this unconscious is actually a rich area that holds much treasure. But we must pass through the garden of that treasure, which is the ego, where we need to face some fears to be able to get to. It's kind of like slaying the dragon to be able to get to the treasure. The dragon that guards the treasure is our ego. And the Sabian symbol for 0 degrees Aries, I just think is so appropriate, even though it's not part of this chart. It starts the whole zodiac year, of which Aries is the first sign. And it is a woman has risen out of the sea. A seal is embracing her. And this just says to me in another way, it's rising out of the sea of the collective unconscious into a new form, which is where we are going. And it is about awakening. I feel like this solar eclipse is very much a catalyst for our awakening and awakening of our true divine nature, what we have forgotten. It's kind of in some ways, like the seal who takes its skin off, the seal skin story, the Selkie stories. Okay, so it's stepping out of an old form into a new form. And it is this solar eclipse is activating light codes and our angelic frequencies. Our new form is called Homo luminous. Well, there's many names for it: Homo omega, Homo luminous, and just simply, the new human template is being activated, and that human template is our 12-strand crystalline DNA. It exists in the quantum field. We are birthing a new consciousness, a new light within, and is being activated, for it is part of our original blueprint to help us make the shift into these higher frequency dimensions of reality. We to be able to live in a fifth dimensional world, there's parts of our DNA and consciousness that are being activated that have been dormant. And so this is one of the things that is happening. And what has happened in the past is that fear is shrouding those light codes that exist in our DNA. And it is time to remove the fear so the light can shine brightly and we can remember who we are. No fear is to just walk through these changes with no fear, just light. And there is upheaval come as part of this process as well. Big changes, the acceleration of the breakdown so that the new can be built in the shell of the old. the catalyst for our awakening, acceleration of the awakening process on many levels. The light is coming in so strong now, and as it does, it is revealing the darkness so that we can no longer deny the truth. And as we acknowledge whatever truth the light unveils for us, we're being asked to have courage. And when we do, we have the courage to know, to do what we know what to be right. For the light will win on a personal and a collective level. As the light within us is activated, the veil of what has been hiding is illuminated, and we come to some big places of inner truth about our life and our world so that we can make different choices. Because as we make different choices to align with love, it accelerates our awakening process. Many during this next 6 months will be taking off the blinders that have kept them imprisoned in this 3D matrix of fear and manipulation. But to understand that the biggest battle we face is the inner battle of choosing what aligns with the light of our divine will, which is actually our soul design or our soul blueprint, what we came to do. And we are being asked to walk in the certainty of our own light and have the courage to know, as they say, that the light will win. Some say it is already won, and we're just catching up with it. And to know that Mother Earth herself exists in other dimensions. She is also moving into this higher frequency dimension, and we are moving with her. Okay. All right. Now, this new moon is, like I said, is conjunct Chiron. And Chiron is the wounded healer. And so the awakening process, I believe, involves a healing crisis. Chiron is bringing a healing crisis. And with all this fire, it's like a fever, and a fever burns up toxic material. And someone often has a crisis point just before the fever breaks, where it may be touch and go with their lives. But once the fever breaks, the healing can occur very quickly. And so we're being asked to go through and what is burning off is this fear that has been shrouding the light that we carry in our DNA and this 12 strand DNA that is being activated. And we must go through the portal of our own wounds and traumas to be healed, as we say, to get to the heart of the matter. So our triggers will be very close to the surface. So whatever is ready to heal will be illuminated. And as with Aries, it takes courage to own it and to not project it. And that's one of the shadows of Aries, is to project. And so it's really important to own our stuff. Aries energy can bring conflict and anger. And that is where is your life are you not aligned with your inner truth and integrity? It may be showing up in your external world as a mirror. Where do you need to say yes, and where do you need to say no, on a personal and a collective level? Part of the awakening is realizing that we keep making choices based in fear. We're being asked to make choices based on what you really want, to base on love. Yeah, I just recently heard this new term for GPS. It is gravitational pull of spirit. Where is spirit pulling you? And that is your heart. That is yourself. Where are you being pulled? That's where the energy needs to go, making choices based on that pull. We're calling on the sacred warrior to be brave and to go into our wounds and traumas to heal them. And we can call on, during this time, Archangel Haniel, for he is the sacred angel warrior to help us. We can always ask for help. And this is from The Angels of Atlantis by Stuart Pearce. He says this about Haniel, Archangel Haniel. Being a sacred warrior, means that Haniel cuts through any of the contempt that you bear for yourself, for your life, for any other human being, for situations, for a myriad of forms that do not permit you to glory in the divine that lives within you. So the Chiron wound, and also the Chiron wound, oh, let me go back to that. So yes, so once again, it is that light that lives within us that is wanting to glow and shine. And it's a new light because it's a new level of consciousness. Okay. And there is another chironic wound, and that is the search for identity. As I said, Aries is about individuation and the self, knowing who the self is. And the truth is, where we are right now, we don't know who we are anymore, if we ever did. And it's a collective wound as a personal wound. Here in the United States, we don't really know even what our country is anymore because everything is changing. And of course, we're in the middle still having our Pluto return, and which is about complete transformation. Okay. And this can cause, when we don't know who we are anymore, when we're losing our identity, it can cause fear and anxiety. If me or my world is changing, if all of the things that give me a sense of identity, we're losing. But what's really happening is it's the layers of conditioning are coming off of who we've been told we are, not who we really are, because that's what's really coming through. Okay. So it is a time to dig deeper, to ask those deeper questions, those existential questions. Who am I? Because when, the world around me isn't, we don't really know who we are, it makes us go a little deeper. So, that question, who am I? Why am I here? Because it is time to start remembering our own true divine nature. Many are realizing there's much more to life than the material world. And these are some very important questions that are maybe coming up to ask ourselves. And as we do, we may remember that we are beings of light and we have slipped on these skins to have this experience. We are all divine, and the light of Creator shines within each one of us. And our light will shine brighter as we remember our own divinity. We are birthing the consciousness of remembrance of that light. And remembrance as well that we have a soul mission. And many of us are being called now in these times of great change, as Pluto is crossing over the star Altair, which is that celestial call for leadership. So many, and in the Aquarian age, not in the way it has been done, there are changes, and I feel like this eclipse is really um, uh, bringing forward some really big changes. Okay. And it may frighten us what spirit is asking us to do. So it takes courage to say yes. All right, now let's go on to the nodes of the moon. So the north node is at 15 degrees of Aries, and the south node is at 15 degrees of Libra. And so this Aries north node is conjunct the star Alpheretz in Andromeda, and it's at 14, 15 degrees of Aries. And it's actually, this star is actually in two constellations. It's in Andromeda and Pegasus. It used to be in Pegasus, but the astrophysicist, I guess, whoever does the naming, decided it actually belonged to Andromeda. Whereas there are people like Bernadette Brady who feels that that's not true. But anyway, we read them actually in both constellations. But what it actually means is freedom, independence, and the right to self-determination. It often indicates the pioneering spirit of exploration, but it is also a dolphin star. And the dolphin stars are about heart healing. And so this is about having the courage to open our hearts to love. For it is love, not fear, hate, or anger, that he will heal our hearts and this world. And I want to share with you this really lovely meme right here. And I believe this says a lot about the South Node in Libra because it's about healing the divisiveness in our world. And it says, until your vision and compassion is big enough to include those who oppose you, you are simply contributing to the continuation of destructiveness. This is the end of separation is the salvation for all. And this is from Adya Shanti. Okay. All right. So it is time to heal this artificially manipulated divisiveness that is happening in our world. The media keeps the fires of hate and anger stoked, but we have a choice whether or not to participate. So whether or not to participate in the politics of fear and the sideshow that is going on. It is about keeping your heart open and being kind, for this is how we heal the world. And you know, they say that kindness is actually the highest form of intelligence. Okay. All right. Now we have Mercury in Aries retrograde, conjunct Eris. So Mercury, of course, is the mind and how we communicate. Mercury in Aries is direct, blunt, and to the point. Aries rules the head, so can be highly intelligent and quick thinkers, but may be impatient with those who are not. Aries is about taking action, which can be impulsive. So Mercury in Aries can take impulsive action on ideas and, of course, speaking before we think. It can be argumentative, but can also make great debaters. Mercury in Aries retrograde can bring about, of course, miscommunication, and which can cause conflict. So it's really important to be aware of your words and what you're saying and what you're putting out in the field. Mercury retrograde in Aries can also be more focused and deliberate, asking us to wait and think about something before it comes out of our mouths. It can be more introspective and reflective. As I said, it's conjunct Eris, and Eris is the feminine warrior. And of course, she's also the goddess of discord. So Mercury in Aries transiting, being conjunct Eris, can really cause a lot of discord through communication. So it's really important, like I said, to be clear and to become aware of the impact of our words and what energy you are putting into the collective field. And so, you know, and I also want to bring up social media and the posts that we share. Anything you're putting out into the field, it's really important to be aware of the impact that it is having. And do you really want to participate in the politics of fear, anger, and hate that are going on? Okay, because it is a choice. All right, so we have Mars at 13 degrees of Pisces, conjunct Saturn at 14 degrees of Pisces. And of course, Pisces is the great cosmic sea and it's water. And so it cools the situation down, bathing the body in cool water like during the fever. So Mars, being the ruler of Aries and Pisces, is the last sign in Pisces, Mars in Pisces, and it can bring a sense of compassion, empathy, and idealism to one's actions. It can also indicate a tendency towards escapism, passive aggressive behavior, and self-sabotage. This placement can make it difficult for individuals to assert themselves and take action towards their goals. However, when channeled positively, Mars in Pisces can bring a heightened sense of creativity, intuition, and spiritual awareness. It can also indicate a desire to help others and make a positive impact in the world. Now, conjunct Saturn, it can give more structure and a focus for the energy. It really says follow the energy and allow yourself to be led by spirit. As these times are changing, we discover the only true reality is the one within ourselves. And as I said, follow your inner GPS, the gravitational pull of spirit. So our higher selves in alignment with our highest good is guiding us. So we must surrender to this pull. It's kind of like in that Hopi prophecy to jump into the water and let the river take you, for the river has a destination. Yeah, Aries likes to know where it's going and what it's doing, but its ruler is in Mars, is in Pisces, and it says trust. It very much a lot about inner trust, trusting the flow of where you're being taken. And Saturn is our consensus reality. What we all agree upon is true. And that is change. And what we agree upon is true is changing with Saturn and Pisces, and especially with the upcoming conjunction of Saturn and Neptune at 0 degrees Aries at 2025 and then exact in 2026. And I love this quote from Robert Hand because I feel like this is where we are going. It says, Saturn is the illusion. There is only one reality. Neptune is the reality that there are many, that there are many realities. This is the new reality that we are shifting into. And the question is, what reality do you want to live in? And it depends on your level of consciousness and ability to let spirit lead the way. And it also reminds us that we are never alone. And the guidance that we are seeking is within ourselves, and to slow down enough to listen. Now, Mars and Saturn are both conjunct the star Astrology in Uranus. Bernadette Brady says this indicates stormy emotions, but I like this really well. This star is at Uranus is also is known as the river, and Ashanar is at the mouth of the river. And so it's about an initiation into higher frequencies of love when we allow for compassion and forgiveness as we ride the storm of turbulent emotions. But what I really like about that is that imagery is when you think of the mouth of the river as it's coming out of the river and then it flows into the sea, into a body of consciousness much larger and much more expansive. And this is where we are going. Now, we've got this wonderful Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. Well, it brings both. Jupiter's at 19 degrees, Uranus is at 20 degrees, and they're going to be exact at 21 degrees, almost 22 degrees on April 19th, 20th. And so this can mean bringing unexpected good fortune. And let me just talk here. If you have planets, I'm going to say anywhere from about, 18, 19 degrees of Taurus to around 25 degrees of Taurus. This is going to really impact your chart. Well, let's say Taurus, Scorpio, Aquarius, and Leo, but really Taurus is the strongest. Okay, but also Scorpio, the Aquarius and Leo are kind of secondary. But and also if you have if you have planets at those degrees in earth signs, such as Capricorn and Virgo, it can bring unexpected good fortune. It may open or close doors that ultimately bring opportunity and success. It can also bring upheaval and earth changes, as well as change in our lives. And since it is Taurus, there may be some unexpected changes in the financial areas. And like I said, it's happening it's really building in this eclipse. It's close enough in this eclipse to really have an impact. And it's going to be, I think, really significant pretty much through the whole month of April. But anyway, as I said, there's the potential for unexpected changes in the financial areas. Uranus in Taurus pushes us out of our comfort zone, and Jupiter magnifies it. And like I said, it often closes doors so new ones can open, and then it may be completely unexpected, and yet it really is in your highest good. Uranus in Taurus says, if I had not made you uncomfortable, you would have never moved. Okay. And so, as the old is collapsing, new ideas, new technology is flowing in, and there are those that are catching it, catching these downloads. Innovative new technologies that have been captured by the government or other entities that have not been allowed on the market will start to be released. And I think it will be really surprising how it all flows. Another aspect of this indicates that the increased vibrational field that evolving here on Mother Earth and these changes to our physical body as well as our energetic templates to be able to resonate with the field, the vibrational field that is changing. Like I said, this is the birth of the new light within. It is the activation of the Homo luminous, the new human species. This is a rare conjunction, and this time it is happening conjunct a star in Beta Centauri called Hadar. Now it's a little wide, and I'm really speaking of it because Jupiter and Uranus within the next 2 months will exactly conjunct this star. So it's really starting the whole process. I think with this eclipse and then with their own conjunction. Okay. And so Hadar is in, like I said, the constellation of Beta Centauri. And the story of what happened in Hadar on their planets is very similar to the story of Avatar. That there was a beautiful species of beings who lived there that were so interconnected with each other, nature, and the Great Mother. It was known that they never lost their connection with the unconditional love of the mother. They know that they know that love is the essence of life and creation. And there are many Hadarian star seeds here now coming to teach us to open our hearts to love, for it is love that heals everything. And they were completely devoted to the Divine Mother, the Great Mother. And so I think it is also bringing in this aspect of the goddess, of the mother. You know, the goddess is alive and magic is afoot. It's a very magical kind of an energy where I feel like the veils to the different dimensions are much thinner and beings can kind of move in and out of them. And it's in Taurus, so it's very much about nature. So making sure that you go out and are grounded in Mother Nature, and because gosh knows what kind of surprises may show up for you. And to also know it can be a time of miracles. So always hold a place for them because they happen every day and the field is ripe for them now. Now, the Sabian symbol for this new moon solar eclipse is a young girl feeding birds in winter. This indicates to me being innocent and fearless in love, and especially having the fixed star Hadar in conjunction with Jupiter and Uranus, that love is all there is. And to be fearless in claiming it, because that really is the truth. Because it's about as we release the fear and this 3D matrix, we will then begin to remember that everything is love. Okay. We also have Neptune in Pisces, which has been traveling there. Neptune has just moved into 28 degrees. And of course, Neptune is the divine heart, the unconditional love of the universe. It is, and as we still have 1 foot in the age of Pisces, moving into the age of Aquarius, that 1 foot in Pisces, the teachings is the last a few hundred years or of this age of Pisces and the big teaching of which is the Christ consciousness and the consciousness of love, and that we are all one and that we are never alone. We never walk alone. So I feel like some of the points here are about the courage to keep your heart open and love during difficult times, for that is what will change our reality. And out of the chaos, a breakdown, a new world, and a new version of humanity is arising. We're being asked to face our fears, ask for help, and trust the process. We are awakening and stepping into the next level of our own conscious evolution. and that each of us are about to evolve into magnificent new version of ourselves, and to walk in the certainty of our light as we evolve together, and that this eclipse is a major catalyst for the awakening and remembering of our own divine nature and why we are here. We are birthing a new light within, a new level of consciousness, and we are moving quickly. I think once we do this, just like I said, when the healing crisis fever breaks, things will happen very quickly. Okay, but this does have effect for the next 6 months. So anyway, wishing you all a wonderful month coming up, and to be able to ride this storm of this eclipse energy, knowing that new birth and new growth is coming as we do. All right, blessed be. Namaste. Blessings to all.